everyone, and welcome back to the Cop Council. How are we all? Hopefully, all of you are on a fantastic day from wherever you are around the world. And welcome back to yet another pre-season match preview for you guys tonight. It is coming to a close. The season is nearing. Hallelujah. I think all of us are pretty much overwhelmed and excited, ready for the new season ahead. Anyway, we'll be talking all about Liverpool versus RB Salzburg. Yes, I'm going to say Salzburg tonight, not Leipzig. Hopefully, fingers crossed anyway. But as you can see, I'm joined by a very special guest, and that is Jack McKendo TV as well. Jack, how are you doing, my friend?
Not too bad, mate. Thank you very much for having me on. You were on my episode just before on my channel, so really appreciate you coming on, mate. And another game closer, 10 days to the Premier League, and what a time to be alive. Up to this.
Exactly, absolutely. And yeah, guys, please head over and check that video out. It was myself, Jack, and Ivan as well over on Jack's channel, so please go and check that out over there anyway. But Cedric's in saying hey Connor and hey Jack as well. Hello Cedric, hopefully on a fantastic day, my friend, as well. Hi Connor and Jack as well from Brian as well. And guys, big thank you as well to everyone that commented and viewed as well the Premier League prediction show that we did on Sunday. I think at the minute it's on 500 views, I think, at the minute, and I've had like a couple of people feedback on it as well, so thank you very much for that as well. If I did put it on Twitter, and a couple of people were not too happy as usual, but it's Twitter, but what else do we expect anyway? But big up Connor, Jack, and Baz, hope you are well. Hello John, hopefully on a fantastic day, and Gary's in as well saying Otaro Bean and Jack La as well. But we will get into, of course, the preview. And Jack, a little bit talking, we'll talk a bit about Salzburg first. I looked at the games that they have played so far. They are currently ahead in terms of games than Liverpool. Of course, Liverpool have played 3 games, and Salzburg have played 4 at the moment. Most recently, they've lost 2 games against the likes of Weinhorst and Ajax, and they've also won, I think, 3 games. I think one against Austrian Wein. Apologies if I butchered that in the chat, guys. Anyway, Weinhen and I think Olympiacos as well. They did face in pre-season games as well. But Jack, of course, we've all known that players have come from Salzburg. The likes of Sadio Mane, Naby Keita, for example, and most recently as well. Looking outside of Europe, of course, Adeyemi. He's gone on now to Borussia Dortmund as well. But what are you expecting from Salzburg? Because, we've played them quite a few times in pre-season. We've played them, of course, even in the Champions League. But what type of game are you expecting from them?
High intensity, I think, really, mate. Like we're seeing against, obviously, RB Leipzig a couple of days ago when, obviously, Nunez absolutely terrorised them. But I think, in Klopp, it's interesting how he's picked these 2 teams. Obviously, both Red Bull sponsored teams anyway, but both of them do get in your face. They're a team that predominantly play a high line. The intensity, obviously, and they've been dominating Austrian football for the last couple of years, Salzburg, and that's obviously due to the financial implications and how heavily backed they are. But even still, with all that money, they've done well. As you said there, mates, the talent within their squad that they have promoted. And you rattled off a couple of names, but I think even there's probably a lot more names that we haven't mentioned already tonight. And even in the current crop of players, we've seen Taka Minamino when we played him in the Champions League. He's gone to Monaco now and all the best attacky. But I think the product line in which they are producing Salzburg is quite remarkable in terms of their talents and obviously their scouting system. I think Liverpool will very much be having a couple of interviews and asking a couple of questions and say how is it that good. But yeah, they're the perfect example and a great opportunity come tomorrow, mate. That a team that will help Liverpool in terms of all aspects. I think the Premier League is very different in terms of how teams do set up. Unless we played Atletico Madrid in the pre-season, then you're probably laying about a low block. But Salzburg, they will come at us. I think pretty sure last time we played them, Patson Daka did score past us. So as long as
he scored a hat-trick against us.
Yeah, he played quite well, and obviously he's failed to really hit the heights in the Premier League. But yeah, I'm excited, mate. Just mainly to not just Liverpool, but in terms of analysing their team and having a little look, because you haven't seen a lot of Salzburg. I'm not going to sit here and say I've watched all of them because you haven't. But I'm intriguing. Obviously, you can't gauge much from a 90-minute game, but you never know.
Yeah, exactly. For me, guys, one of the players that I think we spoke about on the midfielder potential target list as well, he is in the thumbnail as well. Luka Soisek as well. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Apologies if I have butchered his name. Anyway, of course, 19 years of age, Croatian midfielder. A lot of people have spoken about him. I think Neil Jones and James Pearce also mentioned him potentially being on Liverpool's list, and supposedly he is on the likes of Borussia Dortmund's short list as well. And we all know if Dortmund and other certain teams are interested in young players that have potential or have the high ceiling, then of course those types of teams always go for those types of players as well. So he's for me one person I'm going to be looking out for tomorrow as well. If you guys are wondering as well when the game is tomorrow, it is at 7 o'clock UK time tomorrow, of course, because it will be played in Austria. But moving away then a bit from Salzburg, then we'll move on then to Liverpool news and of course injury news. And of course we will be talking about this beautiful man, Alisson Becker, hasn't featured for Liverpool much in pre-season, of course, picking up that abdominal injury against Manchester United anyway. But Jurgen Klopp has had some words to speak about Alisson as well, practically saying that he won't feature in tomorrow's game, but he looks in a good shape as well, taking light training. There's been some photos as well that have been revealed as well, I think in the last hour or last half an hour of Alisson doing light training as well. So he might feature against Manchester City on Saturday. He might even feature against Strasbourg on Sunday as well. But Jack, I think positive news in terms of Alisson, because I think as soon as all of us, found out that he was injured, we were a bit like, oh, Jesus Christ, he's not going to be fit for the start of the season. But with Kelleher being out as well at the minute, he hasn't gone to Austria at the moment, which would leave, of course, the likes of Adrian and Harvey Davis as well left within the squad as well. How impressive have you been of Harvey Davis? Because we all know Adrian, and we know exactly what Adrian can offer. But I think we've all been pretty much surprised by how we found like another decent goalkeeper.
Yeah, and that's mainly probably because of the coaching staff from the go. We've got a throwing coach. We helped develop, obviously, bringing in the throwing coach. We got better on throw-ins. I think we flew up the ranks in terms of our possession-wise and the stats-wise. And obviously, the great interview Dave done with the throwing coach. Forgotten his name. Apologies, but it was great insight, and it's under that understanding of really where Liverpool. You look at certain players as well; their attributes and very much. The coaching setup, obviously, the Brazilian fella. Can you remember his name, Con? But chat years and no.
We don't know who we're going on about.
But yeah, I think it's obviously the infrastructure in which Liverpool do have. If any young player is coming into that environment, as we see, and especially if you are learning from one of the best goalkeepers in the whole of Europe, of course it's going to rub off on you, mate. And you can see from that game. I'm not going to sit here and say I've seen a lot of the young under 23 games, but judging from all accounts, I think he won for England. He was he their senior goalkeeper for the for their victory in the under 19s, was it under 20s Euros? So he's a fell. Thank you very much, Brian. know what I'm like with names, Brian. But yeah, he's gonna do well, mate. And as I said, it'd be interesting. But it is a bit of a concern. I was speaking to you, Con, on my episodes. Potentially, if these injuries do keep on reoccurring for Alisson, that's why I think Liverpool are kind of taking a bit of a backseat in not rushing him back. And even if, as you said on my video before, Con, as long as he's fit for the Fulham game, that's the most important game. I know it'd be great to win a little trophy at the beginning of the season, but Premier League is our bread and butter, is our main competition next season. But yeah, it's a sign of how good Liverpool have been, Con. It wouldn't surprise me if we see a lot more younger talent coming through.
Yeah, no, exactly, 100%. And again, there's been a few youngsters, of course, we've seen in pre-season already. I've forgotten the Spanish lad's name, but
Barisic.
yeah, him. He looks very, very composed and really, really good. You know, if we're talking like a six that we've been, maybe an understudy for Fabinho potentially. You know, the potential is there, of course. But again, it will be interesting with Ali because, like I did say in your video, for me, even if Adrian does play against Manchester City on Saturday, for me that would be no problem as long as he is fit for Fulham and for the remaining of the season. I'd much rather that instead of rushing him back for pretty much what is a pointless game. Yes, it's important for fitness, and it would be nice to pull one over on Manchester City. But again, at the end of the day, we've all spoken about it on all of our channels. Liverpool have to hit the ground running at the start to win the Premier League. We have to. We can't be 12 points or 14 points behind, going into that World Cup break. We can't. And that is the important thing, I think, for the start of the season. We have to hit the ground running. And probably City will as well, to be fair. Big up Connor Jack as well, John. Tom is in as well saying hi, hi Tom, anyway. Saying hi, Connor and Jack. We'll get a watch at Jack's show later tonight up the effing Reds as well.
Tom.
Yeah, good side, proper run out as well. Doug is in here as well. Hello, Doug. Hopefully having a fantastic day, my friend. Hey, Doug, as well, says Brian, and hello, Brian, as well. Anyway, but we will move on then from Alison Becker. And I want to quickly mention this man. Where's Gary when I need him? Gary, you haven't put in the chat yet. But I need
Gary, say your saying, lad.
I need you. I need the saying. I need Darwin Nunez to become, to be in the chat right now. Anyway, but Jack, we did that, of course, the live watch along on here for the Leipzig game. I think Gary himself said, "Oh yeah, Nunez was got a hat trick," and I was like, maybe not. And then he just goes and bangs in 4 goals and looks amazing again, and shuts all of the Manchester United and the other rival fans up anyway. But again, I think it's positive signs. Again, how here's the early stages as Jack trying to fix his light. Goes when we go live. But it is when you can see the early stages, can't you, of the progression of Darwin Nunez in this Liverpool team.
Yeah, 100%, and apologies if my green screen. I fully checked that light as well, but oh well, it's what happens on your live. But yeah, 100%, mate. Me and you were like kids at a sweet shop, really, when we were watching that game. I'm pretty sure a lot of yous were at home, really. I know you probably don't want to say too much out pre-season, but we know the chances this lad will get, similar with Haaland, as we said in that live stream. Haaland and Nunez, the quality of players round them in both teams, they're bound to get chances. And we've seen Salah get, 6, 7 chances a game and probably put away 2. But if Nunez can provide that bit more clinical nature to Liverpool's game, obviously similar to when we used to have, obviously, in Rush, Suarez to an extent, but Suarez would beat 5, 6, 7, 8 players on his own and then whack the ball on top in anyway and score. And even when we brought in Benteke, that didn't work. And certain other players over the last couple of years as well, over the last 5, 6, 7 year period, in terms of an out number 9, it's not really worked. Obviously, Bobby Firmino is that creative striker, false 9, when it floating 10. He's able to do that, but it's interesting that when we brought him in, it's probably a bit more direct approach, would you say, Connor Chat, to Liverpool's game this season. And it'd be interesting to see if both City and Liverpool go a bit more direct in certain elements of their game as the season does progress, because it's going to be scary if City and Liverpool do score more goals than we actually did the previous season just gone. Haaland's been brought in for City for the paramount is to win the Champions League. That's what they want to win, and you'd probably flip that. I know Liverpool, we when we're in it, we want to win the Champions League, but if we can win the Premier League, the first trophy this season for Liverpool, I think all of us, if you said guarantee Liverpool the title now, and probably City the Champions League, I think both teams and both sets of fans would ideally snap your hands off really for it if it was guaranteed. Because to go level with Manchester United, it's absolutely it would mean so much. And we'd only need one or a couple more trophies to really. I think if we can add Premier Leagues, I think Wenger in his time at Arsenal, did he win 3 Premier Leagues? And I think he
3 or
did.
4, yeah.
3 Premier Leagues as well. So if Klopp can just keep on chipping away at those Premier Leagues, and we can get that foot over the line, it'd be a massive confidence boost. And especially stopping City being as dominant as they are, it'd be a massive statement for the rest of Europe as well.
Well, I think you mentioned a really good point there. And to be fair, and this goes back to where, when rival fans go, oh, like when they laugh at Liverpool and go, haha, you haven't like won the Premier League. And I'm like, well, if it wasn't for Liverpool, this league would be a mockery
It'd be
at
like
times.
the Bundesliga. It'd be like French league. Not French league, PSG being rubbish, but that's what happens when you get Poch.
No, but it is though, isn't it? It's the fact that Liverpool are the only ones that have challenged Manchester City and beaten Manchester City over the last 6-7 years for a Premier League title. And again, I think what's interesting as well, and I think what was picked up on, especially against Leipzig as well, Liverpool have definitely changed the way we go forward. You're seeing Trent a lot more as a right-sided midfielder in terms of pushing a bit further up, and you're seeing Hendo or that that third choice midfielder moving into that like winger position, which allows like the likes of Mo Salah to go a bit more inside and direct as possible with Darwin.
Yeah, it's probably that. Sorry, Con. It was probably Ibu, because with Ibu with his space, even Ibu go out more wide. I think we've seen that in the Champions League. Liverpool were playing so open, but I know we've played that predominantly for quite a couple of seasons now. But Ibu's got that recovery pace. And I think obviously our centre halves do split, and then that allows obviously Fabinho in the 6 or Hendo, whoever plays there, to drop in a bit more. And then we've needed that bit more slight protection within our midfielder. But if you're pushing Trent up a bit higher up the pitch and getting in those positions, Con and Chat, then it's so much element. But how many times did we see Con and Chat last season? It was a game with, especially the games in which we drop points in, the chances we missed. We were like, oh, come on, we needed someone to put those away. Salah can't do everything on his own, can he? And hopefully Luis Diaz does come in. Obviously, he got like 15, 16 goals in the Portuguese league last season. So we know he's got a goal threat in him. We're losing Mane. Well, we have lost him anyway. But if you combine the loss of him, the loss of Origi as well, I think Origi was probably your only out-and-out 9 in the club, but you're replacing him with Nunez, and a lot of people, the name everyone's forgetting, Con, and half of social media as well, Jota as well. But everyone's been talking about Nunez, but it'd be intriguing to see how those two do combine, because they both speak the same language as well, so their communication will be tip-top form.
Yeah, no, it will as well. And to be fair, you do mention a good point. Everyone has forgot about Diogo Jota. And again, of course, it is still unclear when Jota is going to be back for Liverpool, because, of course, to have a hamstring problem is one thing. To have a reoccurring hamstring injury straight after it's happened is another question. And we don't know, of course, the process of the recovery phase. I don't think even Jurgen's mentioned any time frame as well for Jota at the moment as well. But, of course, Bobby Firmino as well is another player that I think a lot of people are sleeping on as well. We've seen, firsthand against Leipzig how, fit he looks as well. And to be fair, Jack, you did a video on both of them as well, the likes of Fabio Carvalho and Harvey Elliott as well. And for me, I think this season, even though I think Carvalho, will be eased in for sure, and it will be the one that will take a little bit of a backseat out of the two. But I think that Carvalho and Harvey Elliott, I think Jurgen Klopp has a big season lined up for them, whether that be, the league, Champions League, whatever. But I think that the fact that, already you can see that Jurgen's like giving the faith in the two of them to push the team forward. I think more so Harvey Elliott, because I think if you ask probably 90% of Liverpool fans, they would say what would be a middle three for Fulham. And I think Harvey Elliott would be a part of that middle three at the moment. But of course, we already know at the start of last season, he was the guy on that right-hand side for Liverpool. And again, do you think that Harvey Elliott will be that guy for Liverpool at the start of the season? Or do you think that it might be Jordan Henderson or it might be a Naby Keita on that right-hand side for Liverpool?
I'd say Elliot, mate. Mainly due to the fact of the opposition. Harvey has trained with them for quite a long time anyway, and obviously in the early ranks, he's probably played with a couple of those, obviously, kids. I know he was on loan at Blackburn, Harvey, but you know exactly how Fulham predominantly do play. Obviously, Carvalho will be laying off as well. As I said, Carvalho, he's played with all those players last year, so he knows them inside and out, really, as well, in terms of their development, in terms of progression. But yeah, as I was speaking to you and obviously Ivan before on my show, mate, even you two lads and chat was saying it's Liverpool Football Club. I know I mentioned obviously it might be there's going to be a lot of pressure, but these were spot on. You're playing for Liverpool Football Club anyway. Of course, there's going to be pressure, regardless if you're a 16-year-old or 29-year-old senior international. There's always going to be that pressure, and sometimes, but the environment in which Liverpool have created now over the last couple of years of being a sustained, successful football club. Yes, we miss out on a couple of Champions League and Premier League, but the quality in terms of the core, the squads, and having that experience within title runnings as well. Now we've got that experience. Yes, we missed out by 1 or 2 points, but it's that experience, something that Liverpool had massively lacked prior to Jurgen Klopp coming in. Yes, we had Rodgers, Rafa, and obviously under Houllier, we finished very close as well. But the consistent levels of continuing to perform at an elite level and every season in, season out, it just makes it that much easier. I know the quality of the Premier League will massively improved this year, and it has. But at the end of the day, we said this last year and the year before in terms of outside Liverpool and outside of the City. Everyone's like, oh, Spurs, Chelsea, United, everyone get closer to City. And what we've seen transpire over the last couple of seasons is City and Liverpool have got even bigger in terms of quality. That gap has got even bigger, like 20 odd points, something stupid, from second to third or fourth. And I think it will be the same again. I've not seen anything really in terms of, yes, you can talk about certain players, but they're all going to be scrapping with each other. Unless there was something drastic in terms of a World Cup injury, like for Liverpool or City. And Liverpool City did lose about 5-6 of their main players with like knee injuries or something long term. I can't foresee anyone other than Liverpool and City going at it again and again and again for the next continued seasons, as long as Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp continue to be at both clubs.
Yeah, 100%. And I think as well, we saw last summer how, and you mentioned a really good point, how paid people that predict things, and they're like, yeah, Chelsea will finish, will be in the title race. United will win the league and so on last year. Like, and this is what I think what people don't remember, and people have very, very short-term memories. A lot of journalists last year had Manchester United to win the league, and they finished sixth on the lowest points tally they've ever had in the Premier League. Like
it was Ronaldo hype on it, and chat.
Yeah.
And it will be the case of this season. Certain teams will have, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing a lot better Arsenal for me. I think they've made a couple of very good transfers. I think Gabriel Jesus, massive improvements on the Lacazette and Aubameyang. He brings that needed experience of winning titles at City, and bringing that type of player into Arsenal, it's only better. And I was listening to obviously the chief executive there, is it Edu for Arsenal? But listening to like a little interview on Sky, and he understands football, and a lot of people running, not just a lot of people outside of Liverpool and City, their clubs are ran like an absolute circus, and we all know the clubs that are. And then, but Edu and Arsenal, Tottenham done well, but their model is the here and now. Conte is not used to building. He's there a club for about 2-3 seasons at max, and then he falls out with the owners. Similar to Tuchel, if you look at his past, he throws his players under the bus, and then he argues with the hierarchy above him. Done that with PSG as well. He threw his toys out the plan, the pram, bloody hell, and then he was fuming. So,
yeah.
And everyone's jumping on the bandwagon saying Chelsea are gonna. Everyone's asking these questions. I was asking these questions for the last year as well. Yes, Chelsea have done fantastic winning the Champions League, But that squad, Chelsea, especially now with the defensive reassurances they've had, obviously bringing Koulibaly, probably in the top 5 of world centre halves at the minute. I really do rate him. And obviously, them missing out on certain players as well. But that Chelsea squad has got a lot of quality in it, and it should be still competing with the likes of City and Liverpool. But they get full-back injuries, and then that's their issue.
Well, it's like, unless their name is Barcelona and nicking the Chelsea target list, then
I think you need to match Barcelona's assistants.
Well, I mentioned on the Premier League thing. I said that I thought Chelsea fans hated Barcelona fans more in 2009 than they do right now. And to be fair, you look at it, like you say, teams should be doing better. Teams should be getting closer towards Liverpool and City, but they're not. And that just goes to show like the levels that Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp are producing in the Premier League, consistently, 90 points plus, which is, tremendous. You look at the top highest finishes throughout the league and you look at the last couple of years, Liverpool and City, are in there. And it's ridiculous. Like normally, Jurgen Klopp's had 3 90-plus finishes in the Premier League and won 1 Premier League trophy. That's unheard of in normal years. That's ridiculous.
Another team's another team's like trying to compare the team Klopp inherited was an absolute disgrace. Just go back and look at the squad compared to other managers in the Premier League, most importantly in the top 6, the squads they've inherited. Obviously, Jurgen took a while to build the squad, but we've been getting to there was a clear progression, wasn't there, mate? We could see the idea and what Jurgen Klopp was doing season after season, but he had the experience of winning Bundesliga titles. He broke the dominance in Germany with the 2 Bundesliga titles against a very strong Bayern Munich squad. No one else has been able to do that since he's left the Bundesliga. What Jurgen's done.
Yeah, exactly. Start waiting to score again, says Gary. Anyway, I want to read this comment from Brian. Tactics are always evolving and changing. Klopp and Pep are at the forefront of that. Teams getting used to playing against 3 small lads up front, so the big number 9 with more skill is a different prospect as well, 100%. And again, it will be interesting to see how teams deal with Darwin Nunez because, again, pace, power, height, he's got it all, hasn't he? And if you can use it well, then again, I think plenty of people, I think earlier on, I think we said on your channel about how many goals is Darwin going to get? Yeah, about 50. This is what sounds about right, doesn't it? Yeah, I agree with Jack. Thiago, Fabinho and Elliott is Klopp's preferred 3. Andrew's also gone with Fabinho, Thiago and Elliott unless the formation changes. Brian agreeing as well. Tuchel is definitely a dark horse for the sack race, says Brian as well, potentially, very much potentially. Nicholas says, I'll never forget when Conte was asked about Diego Costa and he pissed himself laughing as well. And Darwin to score again. Anyway, from Gary. But we will get in then the start 11 predictions. Jack, it's tough because it's pre-season. But do you think Liverpool will start tomorrow strong, or do you think it might be a bit of a mixed team against Salzburg tomorrow?
I'm hoping we go strong, mate. I was saying to you and Ivan and everyone in chat on the video we done before. I think we need to go strong, but then again, because I think if we can just get that bit more consistency. I know Man City are very famous for it. You don't play a lot of games, and then they go mad in the season and they play well. So, but I'd like to see a starting 11 strong. I'd probably go with obviously Adrian in goal. Also with the injury of Alisson, then go with Trent, Ibu, Van Dijk, Robbo left back, and then go with Fabinho. Is he back? He's not injured, is he?
No,
Fabinho. No, yeah, go with Fabinho. Go with Fabinho, Harvey Elliott, and then go with Thiago, and then the forward three are Diaz, Nunez, and I was going to say Luis Suarez. Bloody hell. Mohamed Salah down the right wing, mate. I think if we can get that bit more consistent level and then just sub them off at like 60th minute or even 45 minutes, it'd be massive, really. Just the more game time they get to play as a whole cohesive unit, I think they're understanding. Like, even if it was 20 minutes of Salah and Diaz, it does not. training's one thing, but going into in-game, you can't compensate for what that does to players as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I would agree with you with the start 11 as well, guys. But let us know your thoughts in the chat as well, and let us know your score prediction as well before we do head off for tonight. Anyway, let us know your score prediction. I'll ask Jack in a brief moment. Anyway, Brian says that Diego Costa is available on the free, lads.
Oh, nice.
So is Luis Suarez at the minute, but I think he has just agreed a verbal agreement with the club.
Yeah, someone in Spain, I think. Yeah, it was one of the Spanish clubs.
Go strong for the first half. Would hate to get injuries now, says Mark as well. Mark, thank you for tuning in, my friend. And yeah, I think again, 45 minutes, especially because City is on Saturday. And again, you have another game after that, potentially to get fitness in, of course, against Strasbourg. So, you know, there's plenty of game time around for the Reds. But of course, I think Jurgen will want to go a little bit stronger against Manchester City at the King Power Stadium as well, because it isn't at Wembley, it's at Leicester's ground for some stupid reason. Jurgen inherited nothing, no disrespect to the players we had, but compared to now, the difference is like black and white. Our club makes stars. We don't buy them already molded. That's my opinion.
100%. Yeah, bang on there, Vince.
Yeah, it is bang on there, Vince. But again, rival fans will go on and say that, oh, you know, Jordan Henderson was there, oh, he didn't, you know, this, that, and the other. And then when Liverpool spend over 50 million, they're like, oh, well, Liverpool are a spending club. It's like, no, Liverpool have earned that right to spend that money. You look after the Champions League final, Chelsea go out and spend, what was it, £200 million on players. Liverpool spent 1.7 million after we won the Champions League final.
That's where it was Connor. I think, I don't know if you've all seen it. Chat Jurgen's interview on Sky. If you haven't seen it, go and check it out on there or YouTube. He spoke about obviously the importance. He laughed and said, everyone forgets how important top four is. I think obviously that is the main priority for Jurgen Klopp. And he even said in that interview, that is the main priority, to finish top four. And everyone lost their heads. But you can understand where he's coming from in terms of the long-term goals. We've got to think, obviously, hoping for an amazing next 12 months to come. But when we're thinking past that as well, we want to be growing as a club in every aspect. And it was so important. Remember that season when Ginny got that goal in the last game of the season? I think I remember it was one of the very first. Yeah, because I remember doing my post-match show as well. It's my very first post-match show. And it was so integral then. But yeah, obviously Premier League is the priority this season, and the Champions League, as it always is. But happy days, Reds. It's 10 days now. But as Chat already alluded to, we don't want injuries. That's the main key point. Regardless of results, don't get any injuries. Touch with everyone in the house, and happy days. I'm excited.
Absolutely. Anyway, but before we do head off, anyway, guys, let us know your score prediction in the chat for the Salzburg game. Anyway, Jack, what are you going for? Are you going classic 9-0, or are you going relatively calm, then I would say?
Depends how long Nunez is on the pitch, mate. He's only on the pitch for like a couple of minutes, running in the second half. So yeah, I'm gonna go 4-0. I think Nunez will bag again. And I honestly can't wait until he scores against Fulham and then starts shushing the camera. Does Gerrard also kisses the camera and that?
No. I'm waiting. Third game, like hopefully Liverpool go on now, win the two first opening games. Old Trafford. I want it at Old Trafford.
Oh yeah.
For him to absolutely tear apart, you know, was it Lautaro Martinez and Rafael Varane? I want him to just batter them like all over the park. That would be beautiful.
Hopefully Martinez can actually defend the corner against Nunez, not like in the Champions League last season. Yeah. Nunez absolutely is about Nunez about what 6'2", 6'3", and Martinez is like what 5'10", which is mad. Be interesting to see how that does transpire in the Premier League. Obviously, there's been a legendary centre halves through the years and through the ages of football that have been absolutely phenomenal. Height doesn't necessarily, but it's a massive factor in the modern game now that you do need to be a bit more wiser. But at the end of the day, remember, we weren't born in an era of Franco Baresi, but he was probably one of the greatest centre halves to play, and he was an Italian, and he wasn't the tallest, but obviously it'd be intriguing to see. He'd probably get put into the standby where, I was going to say Burnley player, but they're not in the Prem.
No, just we do about Brentford and all like that as well. Anyway, all the Ev anyway. But Brian's gone 6-6 as well. Jesus Christ.
6-6, Brian. I love it, lad. That'll be an
Uh,
entertaining game for us. That'll be good.
3-0. He's been a beast in training, so I hear as well. Says Mark, Old Trafford will be a staple for the Tennis. No joke with it, Jack.
Yeah, Nicholas, hopefully, and Con and chat. Hopefully, we can evacuate it a lot more sooner. What was it last season? That
It was after the
legendary
fifth
picture.
one, wasn't it? It was after
Was
the
it
fifth
I
goal.
think like the 56th or 60th minute or
No,
something?
it was like it was in like the no, it was in the 51st minute.
Yeah,
and everyone left.
So can't wait.
Car park or houses as well. What are we talking about? Maguire. Maguire will be roasted by him, hopefully. But I don't think Maguire is going to get many game time this season.
Yeah,
To be fair. Cannavaro was tiny, yeah, legendary defender. I'll go still the only defender to win the Ballon d'Or, which is ridiculous. And Cedric's gone. I'll go 9-0 as well. Classic McKendo.
You can tell Cedric in a lot of chat. Watch my videos as well, Con.
Yeah, 100%, absolutely 100% with that as well. That was an amazing day, 5-0 as well. Yeah, exactly. But again,
when of you's in here, chat, sorry, Con, make sure you've got 14 likes at the minute. Can we get those likes up before we do head off? Smash that like button.
I was just about to mention I took the words right out of my mouth. But yeah, I think we've had about 35 people in here at one time. So thank you very much to everyone. Guys, if you're new around here as well, then please hit that subscribe button. Of course, we're bringing you, content all throughout the season. Not only just pre-season, but of course, me and this man right there will be at the Strasbourg game. We'll probably be doing stuff for the Manchester City stuff as well. I'll be able to punch him in the face if he annoys me over the weekend.
I'm a nightmare to watch the footy with. Yeah, so you don't know.
But yes, we will be going to the Strasbourg game. If any of you are going to Anfield on Sunday, then please do let us know, and hopefully we'll try and meet a few of you guys as well there. But guys, thank you so very much for tuning in. I'm going with a 4-1 Liverpool win. Darwin to get 2.
No clean sheet, Con. Yeah.
No.
Twitter have a meltdown, lads, if we don't keep a clean sheet.
Shut up, freaking Twitter. Freaking Adrian looks the wrong way, and it's like, oh my god, Adrian, this Adrian. I can't be bothered with it. Big up, man. Hello, Niall. Hopefully on a fantastic day. And Mark says a babyface Jack as well. Yeah, he's about 6.
I still get IDs in now, Mark. That's pretty crazy. I'll be in my 50s and still getting IDs.
Absolutely. Anyway, but guys, thank you so much for tuning in to tonight's show. Anyway, again, we will be live with a post-match tomorrow. No watch along for tomorrow, unfortunately, but we will be live soon after the game with a post-match reaction to the game anyway. But guys, please stay safe, please stay well as well. But Jack, have you got anything coming up on your channel, mate? And do you want to plug away? And guys, if there's any mods in the chat, leave Jack's link in the comments down below as well.
Yeah, thank you very much once again for having me on, mate. Jack McKindo TV, everyone. Obviously, I've done a show with Ivan Jennings and Connor from the Cop Council before as well. So hopefully you tune into that, Reds, as well. It's a pre-recorded, so I know a lot of people haven't been getting notifications, but nice one, Nicholas, and nice one, everyone, for tuning in. As always, Confact, appreciate you inviting me on. But what an exciting season, Reds, on very close. But yeah, just the usual, mate. Pre-match, post-match, and a couple of news shows as well in the build-up to the Premier League campaign. And yeah, as always, Reds, up the Reds, and that's absolutely battered these tomorrow.
Hopefully. Hopefully. Anyway, and hopefully Darwin, or Starwin, I should say, should be banging in the goals anyway. But guys, like I could say, please, if you haven't already, then please feel free to leave a like, share, and subscribe as well. It does massively help out the channel, helps the algorithm out as well. And hopefully we'll have all different types of shows throughout the season as well. And if anyone hasn't seen, I've kept this very late for the show. If anyone hasn't seen the Jude Bellingham stuff.
Oh, I'm not.
Go on Twitter, because I liked it. How he talked about heritage in football is more important than money. So go and look at it, because it was a very good interview that he did on, I think, BVB TV, where he was talking about Marco Reus and so on, and talking about the loyalty that they've shown for the club as well. So go and check that out, because it is very,
Jude Bellingham signs a 6-year contract of Dortmund and doesn't leave.
Go away. But guys, like I did say, please stay safe, please stay well anyway.
Nice one, Black.
And
Great
we
lad.
will be back tomorrow with a live show anyway. But guys, I've been Connor from the Cup Council. See you all tomorrow. Ta-ra.